and welcome back to California Health and Fitness. Greg Chavez is our guest today. Now, we've been talking about some fitness, we've been talking about some nutrition, some good tips, some good habits. Now I want to talk about some tattoos. Gregory is constantly getting something new. I'm in Fresno once a week, and every time I'm here he has something new to show us. So Greg, let's talk about your newest piece.
Newest can be defined a million different ways. I mean, I think...
Hold it up so you can see that.
I'm probably one of the few people in this town that is, I have a standing tattoo appointment literally about once a week. Tattooing is a funny situation. I mean, when about the time I graduated and we all began in college, actually, Zach over here was had a lot more tattoos than me, but I think I kind of caught the bug. But I mean, for me, it was I'm just a little bit rebel-hearted, and I think I have very European parents, and my mom tells me what to do, and we butt heads because we're so much alike. And when I first started getting tattooed, she hated it, but I have always stood by one thing to her. There would nothing be offensive or evil. And at this point in my life, it's really become more of an art collection. I mean, as far as randomness, like, you could pretty much say any random thing. I mean, anything from a pug to a bumblebee. I feel like today's society and generation, people are so uptight about impressing and proving so much to society. My rebel heart just doesn't care. And my lighthearted nature, I'm not going to get a type of tattoo because this is trendy or cool. I'm going to get whatever I want because I'm Greg, and I have, I beat by my own drum.
I love it. Do you go to one person, or do you just have, multiple randoms work on you? Do you have a select, panel of tattoo artists if some aren't available for your business
I would
schedule?
definitely say a panel would be the best way to state it. I mean, the Central Valley really does showcase a lot of really good, talented artists. All too often, with this where I work, we have another location in Huntington Beach, so the LA crowd, what have you. I mean, I'm in the mix with both on a regular basis, but a lot of people from the Central Valley put these negative stigmas with some of these artists, but I mean, it's going out and finding them. The Tower District has a lot of really good local talent. A lot of people who live in different sides of, I feel Fresno kind of keeps segregated to those areas, but if you really go out and look, there are definitely good artists. But when I say with the panel, I mean, I feel like anybody has a talent. I mean, fitness industry, certain people are going to specialize in certain things, and artwork the same. I mean, I have people for black and gray, got my universal guys, portrait guys.
Some good tattoo tips right now.
I mean, just about, anything, there's always someone who's going to be specializing, But, I mean, some of the names, not to plug too hard, but Jay Esparza has done a lot of local art at a lot of the local businesses in this town. He owns the Resistance Tattoo Gallery. I mean, all those guys over there, excellent work. Danny the Machine over at Don't Tell Mom, he's done a lot of really solid things. And, one more just off the top, Alex Solis at Tower Tattoos. Okay. But, I mean, that's 3 different shops. Fresno's a much bigger place than I feel like a lot of people give it credit. But sometimes it's going out and trying something new. I mean, that's a big part of it, broadening your horizons. There's a lot to do in Fresno, and that's why I really like this show, because hopefully that can kind of influence some change, so they can kind of see what's going on.
You just made 2 great points. Number 1, the Central Valley has a lot of creativity. It really does, and people don't get credit for that. Number 2, this is a brilliant platform to showcase that creativity. So make sure you watch, bring your friends on.
Well, an art hop, every
Thursday.
Thursday.
They choose a new venue from it. I'm sure most of you have been to Art Hop before. Art Hop's an amazing thing. Now, I want to kind of expand on creativity in the Central Valley. That's huge for me because I'm a very creative person myself. And obviously we're in the Central Valley right now. So we have some tattoo artists, we have some nonprofits. What else do we have as far as creativity here in the Central Valley?
I mean, you kind of name it. I mean, even if you take it as small as, as broad as even fitness, I mean, you hear the word gym and I feel like everyone thinks bicycles, treadmills, weights. I mean, there's places you just got to, search for it. I mean, Metal Mart, rock climbing gym, they still have a weight station, a really organic, I mean, in the Central Valley, you're so close to everything. Go take a trip to Shaver.
No, you're very
go climb a hill.
And that's a big point of this show is the Central Valley has, you know, like you said, when you hear gym, you think big dude, ripped, six-pack, weights, Arnold Schwarzenegger, but when reality of it is, you know, a gym is so much more than that. A gym is somewhere where you have friends, where you have community. You go to burn off energy. You go to hang out with your friends, but rather than sitting around playing video games, you get up and do something. It's way more than just a place where someone spent a lot of money for you to get big, right?
No, absolutely. And I think if I could encourage any one thing, and it'd be, I kind of feel like I can really share with Zach on the aspect of growing up in a small town, coming to Fresno. You kind of feel alone because in such a small town as Oakhurst, what you can do and what you're available to do is pretty obvious because Oakhurst is such a small town, whereas in Fresno, as small as people like to think, you know, locally that it is, Fresno is actually one of the bigger cities here in Fresno. And I think when you're, you know, new to the area like me and Zach, we did travel around, we did, you know, see all the different aspects, and I think that's why we appreciate it. And I would encourage, you know, viewers to kind of take a trip, hop in the car. I mean, left, right, you know, north, south, there's something going on.
And more importantly than the Central Valley, though, a good point you made was how cool Fresno is. Fresno has that small town feel, just like Oakhurst or Mariposa or even Visalia or Sanger would have, where you know everybody, you run into them at the supermarket, but it's the 5th largest city in California, which again is the 8th largest economy in the world. So realistically, Fresno is a huge place.
Absolutely.
We have so much available to us right now, but I still hear people say all the time, Fresno's so boring, there's nothing to do, I'm so sick of GB3, there's no places to go. There is a ton in Fresno.
I think you and me were actually talking earlier this week about, you know, people, small town, not a lot to do. Fresno's big, and you can get all around this town really quick. With him living in the Southern California, San Diego, Los Angeles area, and with me traveling, I hear all too often people glamorizing the beach, and those people that are glamorizing it, I mean, I love the beach as much as the next guy, but those people clearly haven't been on the 405.
At 5 p.m.
You know, so you might want to go to the beach, but you might spend 2 hours going 10 miles. You can get, you know, all around this town tenfold. Hell, you could go to Yosemite.
And the worst thing that's happened to me lately is you wait 20, 30 minutes to get there, 40 minutes to get there, and there's no parking spaces, so you have to turn around and wait in traffic again.
You know, the thing is, there's a lot of different, you know, transportation options in the Los Angeles area, but I think in the Central Valley, I think people don't appreciate how good they have it because, you know, even myself, you know, hopping on, you know, the 180 or the 41, sometimes I'll be backed up and have to wait 3 minutes to get into a different, you know, freeway. But
so
I mean,
true.
It's just a different environment because the 3 minutes I'm complaining about, you and me being in a different city, that 3 minutes here is, you know, it could be an hour down there. So I think sometimes, you know, just stepping out of your shell and, you know, looking on the brighter side of things and just appreciating what you have. You know, you can glamorize all these different places, but if you can step out of your shell and appreciate what you have, you make the best of the situation. I mean, there's a lot to do anywhere you go. And at the same time, there is so much, and it's all so close. You know, you can go do a job, you can go do those activities, you can go home in a day. Doing more than 2 things in a day in Los Angeles it's a tough order.
It's a tough order, I agree. So we got a couple minutes here left. 2 more things I want to do. Number 1, we have a viewer question of the day for Greg, being that he's a nutrition expert. Now, Brittany from the Central Valley asked us, been going to the gym for about 2 weeks, and I've been eating right. I've lost 5 pounds. I haven't been able to lose 5 pounds in another week. What should she do?
I tell people small, attainable goals. I mean, there's guys who are really passionate, guys and gals.
First off, here, I don't want to interrupt you, but before we go any farther, she's plateauing, and I want to let viewers know that this is just a situation of plateauing. Your body gets comfortable, your body gets used to it. So I want to encourage you guys to reach out and ask if you have these questions, because we're going to have very knowledgeable people to answer them for free. I'm sorry, Greg. Keep going.
Absolutely. I mean, in regards to that, I always tell people start small and improve from there. And the reason I say that is most people who don't, you know, getting into something new, you following diets or advice online, that information is not really geared specific toward every person. Every person is born different size, shape, weight, everything, all these different variables. So when you're doing a universal, you know, prefab diet, if you will, you're only going to get so much, because oftentimes, you know, what that was set for to what your body might actually be are different things entirely.
Well, when people see healthy eating as I ate a Natural Valley, you know, or I ate a granola bar today, or I ate some granola for breakfast. Granola is one of the worst things that you could possibly have, right?
I mean, to an extent. It's good nutrients, it's bad nutrients. I tell people, be aware of labels. You know what I mean? Because so often, you know, America is not like the rest of the world. And because of, you know, the capitalistic society, which I don't, you know, mind. I mean, we're all working hard for certain goals, but, you know, America, food-wise, cuts a lot more corners than any other country. And that being stated, you know, you might buy milk, and when you look what's really in that, you know, gallon of milk, it's not like the 50s and 60s where it was actual just straight from a cow.
There's a very large external cost to that as well. So you guys, I just want to wrap up what advice Greg has given us here today. He said find a community. He gave Brittany some advice for her plateau on her diet, and some advice that I want to add to that would be to divide your workouts up into strength training, stretching, warm-up, cool-down, and cardio. There's 5 components right there.
Absolutely, and I mean, we've been together, friends, a long time. I mean, I'm a pretty mellow guy. I'm not the guy to charge for advice. If you guys ever need anything, you know, you can feel free to, you know, contact me. I'm not going to charge you for my 2 cents, but the one thing, if I could stress any one last thing, it would be that nobody became successful on their own merit alone. Everybody learned from someone else, and sometimes the hardest thing to do is ask for help or ask for advice, but the only way you're going to get there is with that, because we all learn from someone.
Wow. Wow. Super good, Greg. Super good. So remember, Core Nutrition is on Cedar and Knees by GB3 in the Chevron right there. It's an awesome place to go for advice, and don't just take his word for it. Go ahead and check it out. Every time I'm in there, there's a line out the door just to talk to him. I'm one of his best friends, and I still have to wait in that line. Prices are very inexpensive on supplements, on proteins. In fact, it's a place I frequent for my supplements while I'm here in Fresno. You guys, I really appreciate you turning in to
thank you, Zach. Thank you for having me, and thank you, Central Valley. And
we look forward to seeing you again in a few weeks, okay?
Definitely, I appreciate it.
You guys stay tuned. Coming right back with a cute little girl, and she's going to tell us about the gym. Thank you.
This segment brought to you by Tioga Sequoia Brewery. Central Valley Talk is fueled by Tioga Sequoia Brewery in downtown Fresno.
Sunshine Natural Health in Tulare, California is your source for nature's best remedies. Call Sunshine Natural Health at 559-688-2063 and get healthy. There's a better way to optimize productivity and quality of life at work. Call High Point Consulting today and harness the power of your vision. Create your better way at highpointconsulting.net.
Foundation's School of Discipleship educates young people in the knowledge of God and in understanding His ways.